covering The Virtues of Islam by Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab, rahmatullah alayh. Elaborating on this further will be Shaykh, and just a quick reminder, please take your notes, listen attentively, and send your questions to me over the course of the lesson. With that said, Shaykh, if you could take over.
Barakallahu feek, jazakallahu khairan. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Innahu man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, today is our weekly class, Virtues of Islam. In the last sessions, we were talking about ta'wil and the meaning of the ta'wil, linguistically and technically. The ta'wil means tafsir, and that's how the Salaf used it. And before that, we mentioned and went through the qara'in or qarina, or the context, that the basic rule in any language, in any tongue, fundamental rule that people communicate and their conversations should be taken literally, because that is actually the asl, the basic. When people talk, they talk in the literal sense. Give me a glass of water means glass of water, not glass of milk. No, I meant milk. You didn't say milk, you said water. You see? So the clarity will not be there if we render or translate or interpret people's words metaphorically. Then we'll not be able to communicate. That's why people's statements should be taken literally, words should be taken and understood literally, unless and until the text itself lends itself, the text itself lends itself to be rendered, to be understood allegorically or metaphorically. And there are indicators, keywords in the sentence that tell you that the speaker is talking metaphorically, not So don't take his words literally. So this is basic rule we have to understand and abide by. Otherwise, we will not be able to understand each other and communicate. See, that's why when those who are working as interpreters for presidents and for, when a president visits another country, he has his own interpreter who is bilingual. He knows the language of the president, that is his mother tongue, and he knows the other language in which he is going to translate. So the professional interpreter is the one who mastered both tongues, his mother tongue and the language that he is going to translate into. And he has to be very precise, because any mistake, this is going to be an issue between countries. So if a president said something in his mother tongue, an expression which is used metaphorically, the interpreter should be able to find what is equivalent to it in the other tongue, in the other language. Now, in the absence of the qarina, so if there are no indicators, no keywords, then things should be understood in the literal sense. But if there are keywords, there are indicators, then we have to understand it allegorically. And many times I mentioned this example. If I say, I met a lion today, and we had a cup of tea, and the conversations went smoothly. We understood each other. Our views were the same. So you know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a lion, an animal that is in the zoo or in the wilderness, in the forest, the king of the forest. I'm not talking about that animal. I'm talking about a real human being, because we had a cup of tea and conversations, and the conversation went smoothly, and etc. Our views were the same. So you know that I'm talking metaphorically. Because you cannot sit with a lion and have a cup of tea. So there are this key word, cup of tea, conversations, views, changing views, etc., ideas. But if I say now, this morning I saw a lion, it was roaring. On the main road, and the police are trying to catch it. So here you will understand that I'm talking about an animal roaring, on the motorway. People are fighting. So you know this animal managed to come out, to escape from the zoo. So the text itself will tell you. But in the absence of qarina, the context, you have to understand the text in the literal sense. And we mentioned we went through the different types of qarina, the context that can be understood conventionally, according to the convention, according to the habits, according to the customs, okay, of the community. So the text has to be understood in that way. Or sometimes it can be, it should be understood in the religious context, okay? If a father says to his son, did you pray? So here, asallayt, did you pray? So here, it has to be understood in the context, religious context. The prayer here, that means, did you pray Maghrib, Isha, Dhuhr, Asr? It should not be taken, oh, did you make dua? No. The father is asking his son if he prayed or not. Okay. So we have to understand it in that context. If, as Fir'aun said to Haman, Ya Haman ibn li sarha, O Haman, construct for me a tall building. So here it has to be understood in the conventional way, in the customary way, traditionally way, that what Pharaoh meant, or Haman command the masons, okay, to construct a building, tall building. So he's not commanding Haman, you yourself go and make the bricks and start laying the bricks. No. Because Haman is not a bricklayer. This is known. Just when a president or a king or a queen tells the minister of housing, oh, this is a nice spot, this is a nice area. Okay, so we will build residential buildings here, housing complex here. So take this project. You are addressing the Minister of Housing or Housing. Now, is the Minister of Housing is the one who's going to construct? No. But this is an assignment was given to him, assignment. Okay, so he will ask for the budget, and then they will ask the construction companies to give quotations, and they went through the tendering, and the one that offered the lowest price will get the project, and then the construction company is the one who's going to construct this and execute this project, not the minister himself. So the qarina here, urfiya, conventional, customary, according to the custom, the tradition. Minister doesn't build buildings by himself. Or it can be rational, the qarina, like when the children of Yaqub alayhi salam told their father, ask the village and the caravan, which we came along with. واسأل القرية التي كنا فيها والعير التي أقبلنا فيها. So what they meant, اسأل القرية, telling their father, ask the village and ask the caravan. What they meant by that? Did they mean by that ask the buildings, dwellings, or the animals, the houses, the camels? No. They meant ask the people in the city and ask the people who own the caravan. They will tell you the truth. This is clear. Okay, because it's impossible to go and start asking the buildings, the walls. The walls will not answer. But ask those who are living within the walls. I'm just recapping, because to be honest with you, I don't know, really. I have a dream that you become students of knowledge. That is my dream. But are you taking it seriously and fulfill this dream and this wish or not? I don't know. Whether if you are taking this journey of seeking knowledge seriously and you are taking notes and revising your notes and sharing the knowledge, and that is the secret. If you want to return the knowledge, is to share it with others, your family, with your friends, etc. So this ayah was Al Qarya. That's why it is very important to know the Arabic language and to know the different patterns and styles of speech and how the Arabs talk. And if you recall, we mentioned that when the Arab poet before Islam, Antar ibn Shaddad, in his Mu'allaqa, and I told you what is the meaning of Mu'allaqa, famous poems known by poets before Islam. There are 10 famous poems. And this is one of them, by this, the hero of the Arabs before Islam, Antar ibn Shaddad al-Absi, from the tribe of Abs, where he said in his poem, talking to his cousin, female cousin, Abla, whom he loved too much. He fell in love with her, wanted to marry her. But he mentioned her in some of his poems, and it was a taboo among the Arabs that you mention the woman that you want to marry in your poems. So his uncle punished him and told him, you will never have her hand. Anyway, he said, هل سألت الخيل يا ابنة مالك هل سألت الخيل يا ابنة مالك إن كنت جاهلة بما لم تعلمي. So he's asking his cousin, Abla, by raising this question. هل سألت الخيل? Why don't you ask the horses? Literally, al-khayl, the horses. What he meant, the horsemen, the men who are on the back of the horses, the horsemen. If you want to know your cousin, who Antara is, ask the fighters. Ask the knights about me, if you don't know me. هل سألت الخيل? Khayla means those on the back of the khayl, the horsemen. Not go and ask the animals, the horses. This is a known pattern of speech. The Arabs, they understand. He is asking his cousin to ask the horsemen. So similarly in the ayah, فَاسْأَلِ الْقَرْيَةِ, but the Quran came in the tongue of the Arabs. فَاسْأَلِ الْقَرْيَةِ means فَاسْأَلْ أَهْلِ الْقَرْيَةِ, ask the people of the village. See, if you understand Arabic, then the Quran is clear to you. But if you're Arabic you go into the dictionary and see what is the meaning of that word, or you go to the Google and do translation. It will not work. You have to understand the tongue as the Arabs understand it and as the Arabs talk, and you need to know the diversity of the different usages and styles the Arabs used. هلا سألت الخيلة يا ابنة مالك أو daughter of Malik, why don't you ask the horseman, or have you asked the horseman about me? إن كنت جاهلة, if you are ignorant, you don't know about me, to ask the horseman, they will tell you. كنت جاهلة بما لم تعلمي. يخبرك من شهد الوقيعة أنني أغشى الوغى وأعف عند المغنم. If you want to know about me, ask the horseman and they will tell you the following. يخبرك, you will be informed and told. من شهد الوغى, those who witness the battle, waga, the fight. يخبرك من شهد الوغى, من شهد الوقيعة, من شهد الوقيعة, يخبرك من شهد الوقيعة, those who witness the waqi'ah, the battle. يخبرك من شهد الوقيعة أنني أغشى الوغى, I jump over the death and the danger. I'm looking for death. I'm not scared. I jumped over it. I encompass it. I encircle it. أغشى الوغى. When the battle and the fight at its peak, I jumped over it. I immerse myself into the heart of the battle, in the battlefield. أغشى الوغى وأعف عند المغنم. To defeating my enemies, أعف, I refrain. Okay, I refrain from collecting the spoils, the booty. I'm not interested in that, in the spoils, the swords and armors and of the enemies who were killed. Others, they dismount and start collecting things. No, your cousin, he refrains from that. So here, this when فاسأل القرية, ask the village, is clear. Ask the people of the village. So my dear brothers and sisters, we went through that. So there must be qarina. If there's no qarina, the text has to be understood literally. Sometimes the qarina should be understood from the text itself, from the structure, the syntax of the sentence. For example, if a man tells another man, go and buy a heater for us, heater, because it is winter, very cold. So he said, go to the market, this is the money, and buy us a heater. We want to warm ourselves. If the one who was asked went and he didn't come back, and he came in summer, and he said, this is the heater you asked for. This is the heater you asked me to buy for you. What do you think the reaction will be? He will be slapped. The heater will be thrown in his face. You bring me a heater in summer, When I asked you to buy the heater, you know what I meant. You know what I meant. Okay? Don't need it in summer. I need it in winter. Or, again, another example, all these things we went through. If a man was invited and he told his host, by God, by Allah, I will not eat meat in your home. I will not eat meat. What he meant, he didn't want to bother the host and to go, and this is known among the Arabs, alhamdulillah. Still this, I hope that we maintain it, the quality of generosity, alhamdulillah, still there. A guest comes, we have to slaughter an animal for him. This is by default. By default. And this is, we consider it right of the guest. So this guest doesn't want to bother the host, and he knew what he's going to do. He said, I'm not going to eat meat in your home. That means don't go and slaughter an animal for me. Now, so the host, okay, because he swore by Allah, so he respected that. So they cooked fish, not meat, fish for him. Can he eat fish? He said he will not eat meat. Can he eat fish? Though fish is meat? The answer, yes. And no need for him to make kafara. Because when he said, I'm not going to eat meat, he meant the flesh of, he meant the mutton or meat of camels or cows. That's what he meant, not fish. Because that is how people understand when they say fish. They don't mean meat. Though linguistically, in the language, it is meat. Okay. So these are the different types of barina. We went through that. I'm just reminding you. So now, today's topic, the ta'wil according to the Khalaf's convention or the Khalaf terminology, Khalaf. So we have the Salaf and we have the Khalaf. The Salaf are the three generations. Sahaba, Tabi'in, Tabi'it, Tabi'in. Those who came after them, they are called Khalaf, Al-Khalaf. Salaf al-Salih, the pious predecessors. Those who came after them and they followed them, and they are Khalaf. And they used to say, Khayru Khalafin li khayri Salaf. The best of the Khalaf, the best of the Salaf, those who preceded them. For example, you might come across this expression, Khayru Khalafin li khayri Salaf. If someone passed away and his children are following the footsteps of their father and they are pious and righteous, they will say, Ni'mal walad, khayru khalafin, khayru salaf. What a nice child. Best khalaf for the best salaf. And you have to differentiate between khalaf and khalf. Khalaf, khalafa, and there is fatha, khalaf, on the lam, khalaf. And khalf, sukoon, on the lam. Oh, the meaning is totally different. The Khalf, evil generation. Khalf, with sukoon. خلف من بعدهم خلف أضاعوا الصلاة واتبعوا الشهوات. Khalf, who followed the shahawat, desires, lust, and lost the prayer, neglected the salawat. Khalf. So khalaf is different from khalf. Khalfun ada'u salah. So now, the khalaf here that we are going to talk, their methodology, some of the khalaf carried on following the methodology of the salaf, and some they deviated, like deviant sects, Mu'tazila, Ash'ari, etc. So the ta'wil, according to their convention, according to their terminology, jargon, they said that rejection of the apparent meaning of the text, because there is another text which conveys the meaning with more details, or there is qarina. Here, if there is qarina that gives more information and more details about the text, okay, that can be also accepted. That is, can be accepted. But in the absence of qarina, in the absence of the qarina, and I explained what qarina is, the text has to be understood literally, not metaphorically or allegorically. But in the presence of the qarina, that is acceptable. And we gave examples. And here I would like also to draw your attention that this word ta'wil is also misused. They call something ta'wil when it is not ta'wil. It is actually tahrif. Tahrif. You are misconstruing the text, and you are giving a meaning that is totally rejected and unacceptable. And this is what they call it ta'wil when it is not, which is tahrif, that is the real meaning of it, is used by the Batinis, the Batiniya, the deviant sects in the history of Islam, like the assassins, Hashashin, like the Rafidah, and etc. For example, if you, in some books of the Rafidah are the ones who are rejecting Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman, and saying all the Sahaba became apostates after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, which is kufr actually. This Quran is not complete, etc. Which means that all the Muslims are kafirs to them, because Islam reached the Muslims through the Sahaba. So if all the Sahaba, they became disbelievers, except Ali and Al-Miqdad and handful, the rest they become disbelievers. That means all the Muslims are disbelievers, because Islam reached them through disbelievers. They don't know actually what was coming out of their heads. How could a handful of the Sahaba topple the empire of Persia and the empire of the Byzantines. Possible. So the majority, the bulk of the Sahaba and the Muslims are the ones who fought the rejectors of truth and spread Islam, and Islam reached us through them, radiallahu anhum. Okay, so in some of their books of tafsir, they are saying, Inna Allah ya'murukum an tadbahu baqara. Allah commands you in Surah Al-Baqarah, as you know, to slaughter a cow. Cow. They say the cow is Aisha. The cow is Aisha, radiallahu anha. That is, you see, tahrif. Okay, cannot call that ta'wil. So the definition of the ta'wil according to the Khalaf convention is the rejection, okay, or rad al-ma'na al-zahir, okay, or deferring or substituting the apparent meaning of the text because there is another text that explains it and conveys the meaning of this word, which is a bit ambiguous or vague, so it is detailed in another place. And now we'll go through some examples, inshallah. In the hadith, as you know, the Prophet ﷺ, by the way, the definition that I just mentioned is mentioned in Sharh Mukhtasar al-Rawdah, okay, volume number 3, page 599, by Sulaiman bin Abdul Qawi al-Tufi. In the authentic hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min. 3 times. Man lam ya'man, ya'manu jaruhu bawa'iqahu. So here the Prophet ﷺ said, Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min. By Allah, he does not believe, he does not believe, he does not believe. Whose neighbor is not safe from his evil. Your neighbor is not safe. You keep hurting, bothering, disturbing your neighbor. So here 3 times, Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min. So here, this hadith, does it negate the belief, the iman of a person? In other words, does this mean the one who bothers and disturbs and annoys his neighbor is a kafir, is not a Muslim? Why I'm saying this? Because the Khawarij, they understood things like this. They took such a hadith literally and neglected the rest of the ahadith, and they consider anyone who commits kabira, major sin, he is not a Muslim, he's a kafir. He's a kafir. So if one drinks alcohol, he's kafir. One commits zina, he's kafir. One commits theft, he's kafir. Khawarij. This is their belief, this is their aqidah. And they overlooked and ignored the other ahadith, where the Prophet ﷺ he stoned those who committed zina and then performed janazah prayer and make dua for them. And he cut the hands of those who committed theft. He didn't kill them. And if you read in the Quran, okay, the rulings are different. The rules for someone who committed major sin is not capital punishment, apart from the deliberate and intentional murder or killing or apostasy. But if someone commits major sin, is a Muslim, fasiq, sinner. Even if he died while committing major sin, someone dies while committing zina, he's a Muslim. Someone died in the pub while he was drinking alcohol, he's a Muslim. We give him the burial wash and we bury him in the Muslim graveyards and perform janazah prayer. His wife has to go through the waiting period. His children will inherit him, etc. It's a Muslim. So the belief of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the one who commits a major sin, it's not a kafir. It's not a kafir. Because there are ahadith clearly. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ويغفر ما دون ذلك لمن يشاء. So Allah made it clear that the only sin that He will not forgive is the shirk. Anything less than the shirk, He forgives to whom He wills. إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به. Verily, Allah does not forgive associating partner with Him. And He forgives any other sin to whom He wills. So, committing major sins, less than shirk. So, the one who died while committing haram, we leave the matter to Allah. It's not our business. We wash his body, burial wash, janazah, shrouding, and burying him in the Muslim graveyard, and make dua for him. It's up to Allah to forgive him or to punish him. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was a man killed himself. The Prophet ﷺ told the Sahaba, Sallu ala sahibikum. He didn't perform janazah for him. He didn't attend the funeral prayer as a punishment for him, and that is a great punishment, and as also warning for the rest of the community that if someone commits suicide or killed himself, this is what will happen to him. But he told the Muslims, Sallu ala sahibikum. So the Sahaba, they performed janazah prayer, which means he was Muslim, though he killed himself. So the one who kills himself is not a kafir. Yes, the punishment that awaits him ahead of him, if Allah doesn't forgive him, is so severe and so scary. But this is up to Allah, whether to forgive or to punish. So this hadith should be understood in the light of the rest of the ahadith and the ayat. Allah said, وَإِن طَائِفَتَانِ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ اقْتَتَلُوا فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَهُمَا. So if two groups of Muslims fight one another, so bring reconciliation bring them together. من المؤمنين, in spite of the fighting. Allah calls them mu'mineen, though they are fighting. So the fight between Muslims, that will not make them kuffar or disbelievers, because Allah called them believers, min al-mu'mineen. So when you read the hadith that التقى المسلمان بسيفيهما فالقاتل والمقتول في النار, when two Muslims meet one another, both the killer and the one who was killed in the hellfire. And when the Sahaba asked, the killer we can understand, what about the one who was killed? Why should he go to the hellfire? The Prophet ﷺ said, كان حريصا على قتل صاحبه, he was keen to kill his brother, but he didn't get the chance. So that hadith doesn't mean that they are kafirs. That is wa'id. Remember wa'id and wa'd and the difference? This is wa'id, threatening. Allah is threatening, threat, not a promise. The wa'd is the promise, wa'id is a threat. And Allah can fulfill that threat or forgive. So that is a threat. Allah is threatening us. Doesn't mean that they will definitely go to the hellfire. It's up to Allah. Okay. So this hadith, we should understand it in the light of the rest of the ahadith. So here, when the Prophet said, Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min, من لم يأمن جاره بوائقه, by Allah, he's not a believer, he's not a believer, he's not a believer, or he doesn't believe, he doesn't believe, he doesn't believe. One whose neighbor is not safe from his evil. So here, the negation is for the complete iman, for the perfect iman. That means he's not a believer, that means he's not a true, perfect, practicing believer. If he's a true believer and perfect believer, he would not bother his neighbor because he knows that his neighbor has rights over him. Just for example, if you have a child, your son or your daughter, and who is not kind to you or dutiful to you, obedient to you. So you say, you are not my son. You are not my daughter. What does it mean? Are you negating that she is your biological daughter or he is your biological son? Definitely not. Okay. So if a father is telling his son, you are not my son, is he insinuating that this child is a legitimate child? No. But what he meant, you are not the child I expect. You are not the child that should be, because you misbehave. The child I expect is the one who will take care of me, who will be kind to me, respect me, be dutiful to me. That is the child I was dreaming and expecting and looking for, not you. That in that sense, it has to be understood. So when you say, you're not my son, so here, he's not a believer. He's not the believer that should be. He is not fulfilling the qualities of the true believer. He's not. Okay, so it has to be understood that, again, the qarina, the context, in the light of the rest of the texts and the proofs. And my dear brothers and sisters, my advice for you when you are studying any issue, you need to get all the proofs, compile them, all the ahadith about this particular issue. For example, you are studying fiqh, okay, wudu. So open the books of hadith and collect all the ahadith on wudu and put them in front of you. Okay, and then all the ahadith are in front of you. Then you check the authenticity of this ahadith. Oh, this hadith is weak. Okay, we'll keep it aside. Then I will keep only the authentic ahadith. Okay. Then when I am studying this is advanced level, of course, of students of knowledge. Now, because now I'm studying advanced level, which we call fiqh muqarin, comparative fiqh, where you'll study the four schools, what Shafi'i said, what Malikiya, Hanabila, Ahnaf, and what are their proofs, each one. Oh, this is school, this is their evidence, but this hadith is weak. And this is school, this is their evidence, and it is authentic hadith. So the one who based his verdict and his issue and argument on authentic hadith, okay, should be accepted. And the one who based it on a weak hadith, okay, that opinion should not be accepted. Though, because you see, sometimes not all the fuqaha, the faqih, is a scholar of hadith. So he builds his hukum, his judgment, on a weak hadith. Okay. For example, Imam Malik is a muhaddith and faqih. Imam Ahmad, muhaddith and faqih. Okay. So they are masters of both. Imam Shafi'i used to tell Imam Ahmad, or Ahmad, if you come across a hadith that is authentic according to you, send it to me, because you are the expert in hadith. So you need to collect all the proofs and the hadith on any particular issue. So then you get the full picture. You get the full picture. So the same thing here, when you are discussing issues of iman and kufr and things like that, you have to collect all. Otherwise, you will go astray, like just the Khawarij did. Okay, take such narration and say, okay, here the Prophet ﷺ is negating the iman, so disturbing the neighbors is kufr. Major sin is kufr. Subhanallah. And they didn't differentiate also between the hadith of wa'id and wa'ad. Because the Prophet described them, that they read the Quran, but it doesn't rise above their throats, which means they don't understand it. They were not fuqaha, they were not scholars, people of knowledge. So a hadith that are wa'id, they consider them as like wa'd, promise. Allah doesn't break the promise. Yes. But not the wa'id. Wa'id, he can forgive the threat. because Allah is the most kind, the most merciful. In the hadith, إن الله كتب في كتاب عنده فوق العرش أن رحمتي تغلب غضبي أن رحمتي تسبق غضبي. Allah wrote in a book on the throne with him, my mercy precedes my anger, my mercy overcomes my anger. Glory be to him, exalted be he. He loves us more than our mothers, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he forgives. So the threat is not like the promise. Wa'id, threat, is not like wa'ad, promise. If Allah promise, Allah doesn't break his promise. That's different. Wa'id is different. Threatening. The ulama, they give an example. If a father got angry with his son and he wanted to beat his son, and the child ran away, and the father was boiling, and he said, by Allah, I will break your neck. I will break your neck when I catch you. And a man was sitting with him. He heard that. You know, the child went roaming in the neighborhood and came back. The father cooled down. As a matter of fact, if the child didn't come back, the father will get worried and start searching for his child, worried because of this love, the fatherly love. And he might cry when he finds his son and hug him, not breaking his neck. But when he said that, he was angry and he was threatening. Wa'id, not wa'ad. So child came back, and that's what children do, and they come back. And he entered, sneaked, opened the door, stealthily went inside. So the one who was sitting with his father, he spotted and saw the boy. He said, hey, the boy came back, and you said you're going to break his neck. Get up and break his neck. The father will look at him and say, you shut up, idiot. Don't understand. You want me to break the neck of my son? I was threatening him. That's it. Okay. So imagine this is the feeling of the father. How about the one who created the father and who is more kind and merciful than our fathers and mothers? Subhanahu wa ta'ala. So keep this in mind, my dear brothers and sisters. There's a difference between the wa'id, threatening, and many hadith are falling under that category. And this hadith is one of them. So you have to understand it in the light of the rest of the hadith. Another hadith, when the Prophet ﷺ said, لا يدخل الجنة نمام ولا قاطع رحم. Okay. According to the deviant and the erroneous understanding of the Khawarij and the Mu'tazila, said, if you commit a major sin, kabira, you are not a Muslim. So here the Prophet ﷺ is saying, no backbiter will enter the Jannah. nor a severer, the one who severs and cuts, nor a severer of a womb, one who cuts the ties of his womb, kith and kin. Does this mean? First of all, I am asking now you to find whether you understood the wa'ad and wa'id. Is this wa'ad or wa'id? Is this wa'ad or wa'id? Is this hadith wa'ad or wa'id? Is it threatening, a threat, or a promise? Definitely it is wa'id. Threatening. Allah is threatening us. So one who commits backbiting or backbites anyone, he's not a kafir, he is a sinner. Same one who severs the ties of his womb, he's not a kafir, he's a Muslim. But this is a threat, wa'id. So keep always the hadith in your mind like that. However, now I remembered one thing. The ahadith of wa'id, when we are teaching them in study circles, etc., yes, we explain. These are wa'id ahadith, etc., so people will not misunderstand them and misapply them. But if I am exhorting and reminding people, for example, giving a speech on Friday prayer or any other occasion, and I want the people to be scared in that particular position and place, I will just quote the ahadith and keep repeating to scare them to death, so that they will have this impact on their hearts. Because that is the purpose of this ahadith, to threaten. It's not wise that you come on Friday and you start explaining this ahadith, it's only wa'id and not this. So the people who are committing such sins, they relapse. No, it is wrong to do that. That particular situation requires no explanation. The hadith, they have to be related, conveyed to them, mentioned to them forcefully to scare them to death, so that they will refrain from doing such evil deeds. Keep this in mind. Another hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, Aballahu an yaj'ala liqatil al-mu'mini tawbah. Another authentic hadith, Sahih al-Jami, authenticated by Shaykh Al-Bani, rahimahullah. Allah refused to grant his forgiveness to the killer of a believer. You killed a believer, Allah will not forgive you. Again, the same category, wa'id hadith. Because Allah said, Inna Allah la yaghfiru an yushraka bihi wa yaghfiru ma duna dhalika liman yasha. So Allah made it clear, the sin that he will not forgive is the shirk. Inna Allah, certainly, most certainly, verily, Allah will not forgive associating anyone with him. وَيَغْفِرُ, and he forgives. مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ, what is less than shirk. لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ, to whom he wills. So all these narrations, when you come across, they are ahadith of wa'id. But if you are quoting this ahadith in a talk or a Friday sermon, you don't interpret them, you just mention them forcefully so that people will refrain from committing such sins. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us away from all sins, major and minor, and save us from all types of shirk. Ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us remain on this beautiful deen until we meet Allah and find Him pleased with all of us. Ameen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with the beneficial knowledge and righteous deeds, and may Allah forgive us our faults and mistakes and ignorance. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unite our ummah on the haqq, and guide our ummah on the haqq, and unite our heart on the haqq. Ameen. And may Allah reward all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, immensely for your patience and attendance. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakum Allahu khaira. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ameen. Jazakallah khair. With your permission, I would like to move on to the question and answer. Should I recite the first question for you? Should I read the first question for you, Sheikh?
Inshallah, inshallah. Just forward it to me.
Inshallah. So the first question is,
Did you post it?
sending it to you now, inshallah.
Okay, ask the question.
How does a woman deal with her brother imposing jahil parts of the culture on her? She has tried to explain to him, but he continues his behavior.
I'm waiting for the question.
Sister Taliba is sending it to you.
Not you, huh?
Not today, no.
Because last time you said you want to send the question to yourself.
Yes, but it was a difficult.
Okay,
thing.
fine. No issue, no issue. No issue, inshallah. Okay, how does a woman deal with her brother imposing jahil parts of the culture on her? She has tried explaining to him and he continues his behavior. Sabr, patience, okay. The patience, and of course you don't accept whatever he's asking you to do, okay, because he's asking you to do something wrong. You don't obey, okay, but at the same time you have sabr, make dua for him, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide him. And if, for example, he is playing music, just leave. Or if he's trying to show you something which is haram, don't watch it, don't see it, leave. So, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you from his evil, and make dua for him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide him, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save you from his shar. Ameen. Next question, please.
Ameen. What is your advice on overcoming divorce? What is your advice on overcoming divorce?
What's your advice on overcoming divorce? What the questioner wants to say? What is this? What the questioner is trying to say? What does he mean or she means?
I will ask to clarify. In the meantime, we can move on to a different question, inshallah.
What is advice on overcoming divorce? If you mean, you see, this is the problem, that the questioner, when it is not self-explanatory, it's not clear. So I have to just guess, and I should not do that, guessing. So why? Because if I guess, I might give the wrong answer. So, okay, what is your advice on overcoming divorce? Okay, what do you mean by overcoming divorce? That the husband, when he pronounced the talaq, he was angry and he was overcome by his anger and he could not control his anger, etc., or something else. If that's what you meant, the ulama, they classified talaq, and especially Shaykh bin Baz rahimahullah in his beautiful book Fatawa on the talaq. And of course, this is mentioned in the books of the fuqaha. There are three types or three levels of anger. The first level, and the issues of talaq we don't answer here. Issues of talaq should be only addressed by the local imam or qadi in your area, not online. I'm just giving you guidelines. So the first level of anger, some people, when they get angry, they just become insane, mad, when they get angry. And they don't know what is coming out and what they are saying. They don't know. So when he cools down and his wife tells him, "You divorced me," say, "Shut up. You're kidding. How can I divorce you?" Tell him, "By Allah, you divorced me. You say it. You said it." But no, I didn't. He couldn't recall. Some people, when they get angry, and maybe some of you, they have seen people when they get angry, they are shivering. So this level of anger, if someone pronounced the talaq will be invalid. That's what Shaykh bin Baz rahimahullah mentioned in his book of the Fatawa, Verdicts on Talaq. Second level, he could remember that he pronounced talaq, but he couldn't control himself. He was very angry. And you know, women, really, Allah musta'an, sisters, fear Allah. Women, they can make you go banana, drive you nut. Okay. So he was so angry and he was provoking him. This is what women do. And then after the man pronounced the talaq, he was burst into tears, crying. Though before she's challenging the man. He's trying to cool down and she is in front of him like shaitan. If you are a man, just divorce me. I don't want to live with you. That's why the best thing, brothers, is to leave. Don't stay at home when you are that angry. Leave. Leave her behind shouting and crying. And she might run after you. Come back, oh coward. Or maybe she will hold you. Push her back and go. Leave till things cool down. Don't come to her level, because the shaitan is there. Shame on you. See what she is doing. She is challenging your manhood. She is telling you if you are a man, because he wants you to say the talaq. So the second level of talaq, you are angry, you couldn't control yourself, but you remember that you pronounced talaq. So Shaykh bin Baz rahimahullah said, and this level also, the talaq will be invalid. The third level, yes, you are angry. No man will divorce his wife while they are having tea in the afternoon, joking, and you know what? You know, darling, you are divorced. No man will do that. Always talaq takes place when they are angry. But this level of anger is controllable. He could control it. And he divorced her. So this third level is valid. Is valid. So if that what the questioner meant, I gave you what the guidelines and what Sheikh bin Baz rahimahullah mentioned in his book. If the questioner meant something else, please give more details. Give more details. Yes. Next question.
Please tell us what is Bayt al-Ma'mur.
I think there is a question came before that.
Apologies. A sister who is divorced, has no children of her own, and wants to take in an orphan. His parents are alive, but not capable to look after him. The boy is 6, and if she won't take him, the non-Muslims will eventually raise him their way and not Islamic. Do you recommend her to do it? And at what age does she have to cover her aura in front of him? Barakallahu feek.
The question is saying to take an orphan, and his parents are alive. So he's not an orphan. He's not an orphan. Okay, the orphan is the one who a child still below the age of puberty, and he lost his father, not his mother. He lost his father, not his mother. Child who lost his mother, okay, we are talking about the technical definition of yatim. For the human beings, the one who lost his father. For the animals, the one lost its mother. So you say his parents are alive, but financially they cannot look after him. So he's not yatim. The biological parents are there. And the boy is 6 years. So here, my advice is that if the parents, okay, if just, again, I am just trying to read between the lines, because you say the boy is 6 years old, and if he won't take him, the non-Muslims eventually raise him their way, which means the child is Muslim, his parents are Muslims, or maybe a child is not Muslim. Okay, we'll take, if the parents are Muslim, then the best thing is a child to be raised by his parents, and we just support them financially. You should do that. Now, if the child is not Muslim and the parents are now asking anyone to take this child, and he's not the child is not Muslim, that means his parents are not Muslim, though a child is born a Muslim. In this case, yes, you can take this child and bring him up, and he will be, inshallah, grow up as Muslim. And here, if you have milk, if you have milk, you can give your milk to this child, though he is 6 years old. And of course, this issue is a controversial issue between Muslim scholars. Okay, can a child who is more than 2 years be breastfed and become a child? There is mention in the Sunnah for that, the hadith of Salem Al Amry. He grew up and he was not their biological child, and now the husband is feeling jealous. So the wife came to the Prophet ﷺ. She said, you know, Salem now is a man and my husband feels jealous, what to do? So he told her, breastfeed him. Though he is now already matured, grown up. So breastfeed him. And here some people, they are thinking only, how she breastfed him? She gave him her breast and he started suckling. There are many ways. She could have milked the milk and gave him in a bowl and he drank it. Okay. So what is the issue? So here the Prophet ﷺ, he told her that, yes, give your milk to him, even at this age, he will be your son. And the problem was solved. Now the ulama, regarding this hadith, the majority, I have to be honest with you, the majority of the scholars, they are considered this is a special case for Salem Mawla Hudayfa. It's a special case, and that's it. Even the rest of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ holding the same opinion. However, our mother Aisha differs. Said, no, it's not something peculiar, it's not something special. It is general, but depending in any similar case. That's the madhab of Aisha. So some of the ulama scholars, they sometimes apply this hadith if there is a similar condition, a similar situation. So if we say the madhab of Aisha and accepted this, and you have milk and you gave it to this child who's 6 years, okay, and of course 5 times, then inshallah the child will be your son. If we say no breastfeeding, then the moment the child is now reaching the age of puberty, and so he's now a man and he's not a mahram, so you have to start observing hijab, etc. Okay, and wearing your hijab in front of him, etc., and no khalwa, etc. I hope this is clear to the questioner, inshallah.
Barakallah Feek. The questioner added a small statement. They said that the child belongs to the government completely. This is why they called him an orphan.
Okay, so also I think the question asked about covering the awrah. Of course, the first of all, what is the awrah of the woman, Muslim woman? Muslim woman and her awrah to the non-mahram, okay, is the whole body, apart from her face and her hands. And her awrah in front of Muslims, women. Her awrah, the awrah of the Muslim woman in front of Muslim women, is just like her awrah in front of her mahram, her father, her sons and brothers. So what a Muslim can show to her mahram, in front of her mahram? The hair, the neck, the places where you wear ornaments, the necklace, the neck, the hands, bracelets, bangles, and the feet, because some women, they wear anklets. This what can be shown. That's it. Can a Muslim show her breast to another Muslim? No, you don't show. Though some people, women, they do that. Don't show your breast. Even when you are breastfeeding in front of women, you cover. Okay. This is what you can show a Muslimah in front of another Muslimah, on the condition, providing that this Muslimah, okay, fears Allah and she's not going to describe you. She's not going to describe your figure. She's not going to describe your body. She's not going to describe your hair and the color of your hair. Okay. Otherwise, and this is my advice for the sisters, if there are women visiting you, Muslim women, try to be covered, dressed modestly. Because unfortunately, even many Muslim women, they describe, and especially when they come from weddings. Wow, she's talking to her husband. Wow, today so and so, she was the star of the wedding. She was more beautiful than the bride herself. And the husband is nodding his head. Yeah, and he's talking. That's haram. That's haram. How about children? Children, if they don't know and they cannot describe, like 4 years, 5 years, things. Now today, 7 years and maybe 5 years. Oh, auntie so and so was so beautiful. Okay. Then if the children they are describing, then we don't allow them to go to the women's side. How about the awrah of the Muslimah in front of another woman, but that woman is not Muslimah? She should treat her like a man who's not a mahram. Totally covered. She is a woman, yes, totally covered. Because she is not Muslimah and she might describe you to others. So you treat her like a non-mahram man. So you don't show your neck, your hair, anything. Okay, so that is the awrah that you should not show. You should know what to show and what not to show. What to show, what is permissible to be shown in front of the mahram and to the non-mahram. Now we'll go. So, what was the question, Akhi?
Barakallahu feek. The next question is what is Baytul Ma'mur?
Al-Bayt al-Ma'mur, it is the Kaaba of the Malaika. We have Kaaba in Mecca, on top of it, Al-Bayt al-Ma'mur. In the first heaven, as mentioned in the Hadith, and every day, 70,000 angels will perform tawaf and they will not come again. They will be replaced by another fresh 70,000 angels. Next.
Barakallahu feek. The next question is, what is the difference between qana and rida?
What's the difference between qana'ah and rida? Okay, you see, the qana'ah and rida. The qana'a means satisfaction and rida means contentment. They're very close, actually. To be qanu', satisfied. This is my income, I am happy with it. Okay. Have this satisfaction, qana'a. So I'm qanu', satisfied. Rida, to be happy, to be content, have contentment. This is what Allah decreed for me. I accept it and I'm happy with it. So the contentment, the rida. You, in heart, you are pleased, happy. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me. So they are actually very close and can be used actually interchangeably. Rida and qana'a. I hope this is clear to the questioner. Next.
Barakallah feek. The next question is, do you recite takbir at the al-jamrat, especially during the al-aqaba al-wusta?
Do we recite takbir at all the jamarat? When you are stoning, yes, Bismillah Akbar, Bismillah Akbar. You do that. The last one only you don't stop and and make the dua. You just leave. Next question.
Barakallah feek. What about if we have a meeting to save someone in the ICU who is facing a critical condition, and iqama of Isha has the iqama of Isha has happened, and just to continue our discussion and perform Isha Salah later, are we sinful?
What about if we are having a meeting to save someone in ICU who is facing a critical condition, and the iqama of Isha has happened, and just continue our discussion and perform our Isha later? Okay, the question here seems that if they anyway, I have to take all the different scenarios and probabilities. If the questioner is a doctor and he is in the ICU, okay, so definitely he has to attend this patient, and even if he misses the Isha prayer, okay, because he has critical case here, saving life. So that's why the ulama, they said, if, for example, a doctor, a surgeon is going to have operate a patient Dhuhr time, and he, according to his calculation, he will finish only Maghrib time. It will take that number of hours. What to do? He's going to miss the Asr, because Asr time he will be in the theater. What to do in this case? In this case, he should pray Dhuhr for rak'ahs, and then pray Asr for rak'ahs in advance, combining them, though he's not a traveler. And this is, alhamdulillah, flexibility in the Sharia, as mentioned in the hadith of Ibn Abbas. The Prophet combined the prayers without rain or fear. So when he was asked, he said, to save his ummah from facing difficulties and hardships. So then he will enter the theater and he will finish Maghrib time, and he will pray Maghrib on time. Now, if the questioner, the family, okay, of the person, not the doctor, and they have to be there, okay, for example, filling forms or official documents and things like that, then that's fine. And they have to finish the formalities and then they can pray Isha later on, inshallah. And they are not sinful. Next.
Barakallah feek. That was the last question. If you would like to conclude the lesson. Jazakallah khair.
Barakallah feekum, jazakumullah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, bless your family, protect you, protect your family. And may Allah Azza wa Jal elevate your status in this world and in Jannatin Na'im. Ameen. Until we meet, inshaAllah, in our coming session, I leave you in Allah's company and protection. في حفظ الله ورعايته. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.